Hello, my beautiful, gorgeous dance baby, and welcome to another episode of More Than Dance. Today, we are talking about how being a dancer makes you more equipped to make better decisions and to also just be a better person. You could be getting home from work one day and you're making the decision to either stay comfy on your couch or go to dance. If you're a dancer, chances are you're going to get into the habits of saying yes to yourself and choosing dance, choosing movement, choosing social activity over falling into the depths of your couch. We know dance as memorized movement. And once you get into the performance part of it, it's really about decision making and quick decision making. I've told you about the motto, get the F there. Well, sometimes when you're on stage, you get to make a very quick reacting decision. And that decision is for the sake of the performance, because the show must go on. So we're going to get into the 6 reasons why I think dance makes you a better decision maker. We're making decisions all the time. And dance is so amazing because it's an art. So we get to play in an art form. It's a physical activity. It's a mental activity. It's emotional. It's social. There are so many aspects to dance that as a human, we get to really revel in so much. And we get to enjoy everything that dance can bring us. So let's go into reason number 1. Dance sharpens your instincts. We talked about this just a touch, and now we're going to go deeper into it. So when we think about instincts, there's decisions to be made. Let me paint the picture for you. This is a real story. You're on stage and you're dancing and everything's going wonderful. And your costume comes undone completely up here around the neck. And you get to make a decision. You can stay on stage and chance it, or you can gracefully figure out how to get off stage, use one of the stage helpers to help you get your costume back on, or you can put it on back by yourself and find the right timing to come back on the stage. And actually, you'd have to figure out the right timing to get off the stage to do that too. So you're making these quick decisions to be like, okay, yeah, I'm going to do it. And now's my timing. And here I go. Go fix my costume so I can perform the rest of this number, get back on stage as if nothing happened. That's a quick decision to make that impacts not only the dancers that you're dancing with, but also the artistic director, the choreographer, the show, whoever you're performing with, and the audience, of course. Dancers are making 100 micro decisions, some that we're not even conscious of. And that could be like your facial choices. So when you're feeling out a piece, you might think, okay, I'm going to make this face. Your body might not even know how it's doing that face because you're making decisions all the time as a dancer. Your body might just be making the decision and you're just like, okay, that's the face. When you're performing, you get to decide, who are you going to engage with? How is engaging with that specific person going to better your performance? You're making decisions about spacing, especially if you didn't get a proper tech or spacing rehearsal. If you're a street performer, you're making decisions about your space. You're making decisions about who is going to be helpful, who's going to add to your show when you're calling people out from the audience. Making decisions as a dancer and trusting your instincts is trusting your intuition in life. And the more you trust it, the stronger it gets. So my students come in a lot of the times and I hear this phrase, sometimes I'm just like, I just overthink it. I'm just overthinking it. And my response to that is, what does that mean for you? I know what it means for me, but what does it mean for you? And usually, I would say 9 times out of 10, they're thinking about the other people in the class versus them. They're thinking, I'm going to smaller myself. I'm going to take less risks. So really, they think they're overthinking. They're not. They're thinking about the wrong thing. And the wrong thing being they're thinking about everyone else but themselves. Dance is such a pleasure and such a joy. And when we can trust our instincts to take up space and to do the movements how our body's doing them, the way that we were trained to do them, to lean on our technique training, to lean on our experiments, because dance sometimes, especially improv, is just a bunch of experiments. How's this going to land? How is this transition going to go? What's going to look like when I make this face? And when I look back at my video, am I going to like that? So when we can trust ourselves to just mess up, trust ourselves to just go for it, 100% versus 50%, we're going to get our answer quicker and we're going to be able to make our decisions faster. Dance teaches you to move with trust. All those little micro decisions add up, and we learn to count on ourselves. Number 2 is we learn how to make the decision to commit to ourselves. Dance, especially in the performing part of dance, it's about owning it. It's about owning your choice. So in that situation that I described, your costume comes off, you make the choice to go off stage to fix your costume. You get to own that choice. And we get to do that as dancers even when we are unsure. Because in dance, leading with hesitation is always going to show more than leading with clarity. I see this a lot at the studio when we're improving, and you can see on someone's face right away if they tried something and they were unsure about it. Their face is going to tell the whole story. Like, I just tried that. That was my first time. It didn't go as planned. Oops. However, sometimes there are moments where you can mess up royally. But if your face stays so centered on that was a good idea, I made that choice on purpose, you can confuse the audience and they could be like, I actually think that was supposed to happen. Interesting. Interesting choice. And then you get the audience questioning and they're like, whoa, maybe that's a new way of doing that move. When we think about life, we learn to respect clarity. Think about that in terms of like people who you like to follow on Instagram or people who you like to listen to. They're leading with clarity. They're moving with decisive action. And you're responding to it because we as humans, we kind of like gravitate towards what is predictable and what is known. So we like that. And we're like, ooh, I like that. And it's not always perfection. Perfection's pretty, and clarity makes more impact. Number 3, our flow leads to creativity and also clarity. So when you're dancing and you find yourself in just like a flow, you're doing the routine, you're not questioning yourself, you're hitting it, you're in a vibe, and that vibe feels good. It's kind of like being in the lazy river. There are things aligning and things connecting, and they're all in one. So it's like the music, the body, the vibe, the movement that you're doing, everything is aligning at one time. When you're able to be in flow, decisions come more naturally to you. It's almost like you just like took a big veil of cloud out of your brain. And it's like, okay, I understand it. It's clear now. That happens to me a lot of times when I'm dancing where I'll just feel like, oh my gosh, like thank gosh I got to that place. It's like a magical place. It's kind of like possessed meets, if you could picture like the mad scientist, like artistic flow state. You just go there and you're operating from a place of intuition. You're operating from a place of what feels really good. Getting a chance to get into that flow state teaches your brain to continue to make decisions like that, to continue to flow, because the reward is the feeling that you're feeling. Number 4 is the sheer fact that dance makes you brave enough to choose. I think about this in terms of students that I've helped in the past where they've come to me when they've been just purely broken. Maybe they've been in a horrible relationship that's violent or a really just bad relationship with themselves. And they start dancing and standing in your power like we do at dance, and standing big and tall and standing knowing that you chose yourself. It helps you feel brave. If you're stuck in a situation, you might not have the practice of choosing yourself. And when we dance, we're choosing ourselves, we're choosing our bodies, we're doing things that allow us to feel healthier. Or maybe even eating cleaner, dressing to our body types. We become lifted. We're showing up externally, therefore we're showing up internally, even if it's at a slower pace. We decide that we matter, and dance is there to hold our hand as we go through that process. Number 5, dance teaches us about recovery. It helps us to pivot. We decide when our bodies need a break. We decide when we need rest. We decide when we need to modify. We decide when we get to push harder, when we want to dance in the offense versus the defense. If you haven't listened to that episode, go take a listen. We learn to become resilient to our growth. I know that when I was going through my surgery, my recovery, and even my lead up to surgery, which was really scary, I knew that dance was there. I knew that I could lean on dance to guide me through it. It teaches us resilience. Like I knew when I was recovering, I'm like, okay, well, I know like where I want to get back to. I know that my goal is XYZ and therefore I get to do XYZ to get there. So it's kind of like the idea of stop complaining and start making action. Because at the end of the day, dance, though it's an art form and not quite a sport, it is like other sports where when you want it bad enough, you work hard. You pull through hard things to get better. And number 6, I kind of touched on this and I want to touch on it in a more obvious way. Dance takes you away from thinking and into feeling. So this goes hand in hand with the other one about leading with your intuition, though this one's slightly different because you're turning off thinking and you're going into your body. You're going from an approach of feeling. You've learned to stop analyzing. And I would say you get to do this as a beginner dancer and more so as a more advanced dancer because you're in a place of letting go, in a place of feeling what the movement feels like and letting that dictate your body versus thinking about how it looks. And I know for myself, like when I'm working on technique-y things, I'm definitely thinking. And then I notice when I'm thinking about it, sometimes I'm not feeling it. So dance teaches us how to disconnect the think and go into the feel, and to disconnect the feel, go into think. And I think like for me, because I learned dance as such a young kid, the thinking process, the analytics, the anatomy, all that stuff that I like to learn now, that wouldn't have worked for me because conceptually I wouldn't have understood that as a 2-year-old when I started. And now it like really speaks to me because it's like, oh, like that's cool. I'm learning about these deep anatomical things within dance, within my body, and then I get to feel them on the dance floor. And that's so cool. And then when everything locks in, it's even cooler. So the next time you're thinking about going to dance or starting dance or returning to dance even, think about everything it does for you and how within one class you can feel so much more connected to yourself and you can feel like you're actually making decisions from you yourself versus the external world. So as we wrap up this episode, I have a question for you that you can journal about. And it's, where in your life are you waiting to choose when you could be moving? And just spend some time reflecting on that. I'm going to do the same. And if you have another way that dance has helped you make better decisions, I'd love to know. So please DM me. If this was helpful for you at all, it would mean the world to me if you left a 5-star written review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, as this is what helps the podcast grow and to reach other people just like you. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the dance floor.